At 3, Jon Najarian. It is the first trading day of December 2020. Our disclaimer is that all investments involve risk. There is no way that you can have an investment that does not have risk. So before you make an investment, understand that you have that responsibility. We can only describe what we see. This is for educational and informational purposes only. Intellectual property rights, yes, we have patents, trademarks, copyrights, registered marks. Please, before you just go and use this, ask us. We'll be happy to let you be a marketing arm for us and push this out, but we'd ask that you ask us first and then cite Market Rebellion. All right, let's get started. Yesterday I talked about Valet, and as you know, I've been a fan of Valet, Mittal, of FCX, Freeport, and we have a new one today that I'll be talking about, but I also have owned it from before. Yesterday we talked about this one because 1.7 million share equivalent of those December 16 calls were bought. These calls have 2 weeks and 3 days to trade, to live, if you will, because they're regular December expiration. And this is the 1st of December. So expirations are the 3rd Friday of each month. If they have weeklies, then we will designate that as such. But this was not a weekly. This was regular December options. We talked about it when the stock was $14.40. There's where the stock went. Bang. Nice. So if you invested 1,000 shares worth at $14.40 and now it's $15.40, you made in rough terms $1,000. 1,000 shares moves up $1, you made $1,000. Great. On the other hand, if you invested in the options, you've done far better. You're approaching 100% return on your options. That's why we invest using options, my friend. Thank you. If you'd like to learn more about getting started in options or in cryptocurrencies, in futures, in stocks and technical analysis, go to marketrebellion.com/get started. That is marketrebellion.com/get started. Now we're getting started with Scott Wapner on the halftime report today. So let's kick that off right now. First one was Micron. The stock was $67.88. They were buying, so it's up almost 6%, 5.91% as you see there. And they're buying calls in Micron. Which calls? Well, let's take a look. They were buying the December 70 calls. Now, those of you who know me know I buy at the monies and sell out of the monies. That's what I try to do to move the odds into my favor. And here's one of the reasons, folks. When you're buying these Micron December 70s, and I'm going to pull it up over here and take a look at my fills. When you're buying those December 70s, you're asking the stock to make a jump to or about through $70 a share. These are regular December Micron calls, so they have 2 weeks and about 3 days to live. And as you buy such an option, let's see, what were they trading for this morning? Those December 70s were roughly $1.50. So you could spend $1.50 on those out-of-the-money calls. There's nothing wrong with that. That is controlling the amount of risk that you're taking. A stock that's up 34% in the last 30 days, and I can't knock you for doing it. On the other hand, what I like doing is buying the 67.50 calls, which, as you know, are approximately the at-the-money call. You could buy the 68s, I guess, too. But I like buying those. So, for instance, if you bought the 68 calls, those were trading for $2.20. The 70 calls were trading for $1.50. So, 220 minus 70, 220 minus 150 is 70 cents. So you could spend 70 cents and have an at-the-money versus those 70s. And you've paid 70 cents for something that could go to $2. Do you like that trade? Or do you like betting $1.50 and having all that time decay and all that volatility risk You have to decide, but I tell you every day here on the broadcast which way I like to trade it. And as you might guess, I'm along the 67.50s and the 68s against 70s and higher up calls. That's the way I like to play it. Look at that volume. They've been rolling up from the 65 strike all the way up to the 70 strike, and they've traded nearly 40,000 of those as of just a little bit ago. Huge volume. That is 4 million share equivalent, folks. So that's an awful lot of options to trade at that strike. That's another reason it shows up on our heat seeker algorithm. If you'd like to learn more about that algorithm, well, go to marketrebellion.com/UOA. That is marketrebellion.com/unusual option activity, or UOA. You can see all about how we offer multiple trades per day. Some days it's over 25 trades a day. Or if just one trade a day is something that's more your speed, we have that. Something that's just one trade a week, we have that. You have to decide what's appropriate for you, just like you decide how much risk you want to take. Thank you. Next trade was Semx, January 550 calls. As you see, less than 2,000, in fact, probably only about 1,000 calls a day trading in Semx. This is one of the largest cement plays or infrastructure plays, if you will. And look at it today, trading tons of volume. Nearly 14,000 of these calls, January 50s, with the stock at $4.80. So take a look at how we have done so far today. So some of the calls were entered at 10 cents. I did not get those. I did get 20-cent calls, and they're already at 50 cents. I've already taken off half. John, why did you take off half? Why did you tell us about it and take off half? Well, thank you for asking. The reason is that I use discipline on profits as well as losses. So if I'm taking profits, I want to pull off my profits. You have to decide what's appropriate for you. But when an option doubles, this went from 20 cents to 40 cents, I took off half. So on the 100 lot that I had, I took off 50 of those, basically recovering all of my investment because I took off half. At that 40 cent level, I paid 20 cents for them, which means I'm running with the rest, and they've moved up another dime to 50 cents. Could it keep going? Of course it could. These are January options, so I'll probably try to start scaling in, selling upside calls against these in the near future. But I just like emphasizing that DDA, discipline dictates action. And my discipline here is disciplining myself to pull money off the table when I have winners so that I have more winners and more money at the end of the day. Bang. All right, there's a few of my friends. You see Scott Wapner on the left, Josh Brown, myself, and Sarat Sethi. Sarat is a wonderful guy, good friend, and one of Barron's, I think he's in the top 40 now as far as investment advisors. They run billions of dollars, and Sarat is a great resource for me as well, because this is a guy that runs real money, folks. I like listening to Sarat, and I enjoy the fact that we're on the show together. So Bernstein initiated online travel. We talked about it. I talked about why I like TripAdvisor. Josh and I had a little fun back and forth on that. And then we did final trade. My final trade was Under Armour. Why? Because they were launching a brand with NBA star Steph Curry to rival Nike's Jordan. Will that happen? If you want to say, it's a rival, it's a rivalry. But this is a, $7 billion company versus $220 billion Nike. You're not really comparing apples to apples when you're looking at these two. Yes, they are both sporting goods companies. Yes, there are many things that Under Armour does well, including shoes perhaps. And they have Tom Brady and Steph Curry in their stable of athletes and influencers. However, I don't think either is quite as big as Michael Jordan. So I'm just citing this for you here. I like Steph Curry. I like what Under Armour's doing. We had unusual option activity after this announcement was made. So I jumped into the calls of Under Armour. Bang. There it is. You could still jump in if you so chose. Stock was approximately $14.73 just a little bit ago. I think it could push to 20 if you give it a little time into like the full first quarter of next year. Question time. Yeah, questions. Let's get to them quickly because I got to go. Structured investments. This is from Keith Caron. As you see there, KeithCarron. He asks, do structured investments have the same sort of trade magnet effect as listed options? Sometimes they do. What he's referring to here, folks, I say he because Keith, what he's referring to here is many times a strike price that has a large open interest will be referred to as magnetic, meaning that it might pull the investment up to that strike price. Now, that a little bit of that is true because what happens when an option is listed and traded? Somebody has bought it, somebody has sold it. So as the stock gets close to that strike price, many times it tends to be magnetic, pulling the person who sold those options back into the market to buy more stock against the options that they've written. Does it work the same way with structured products? In some cases, I'm sure it does. For the most part, though, Keith, I think that you're spot on to cite this, but I'd have to have specific examples. And in this short time, I don't quite have time to cover those specific examples, but I appreciate the question. Thank you. And I do think that structured products do create some of that same lift. Yes. Semx. This is also Keith Caron. Apparently, Keith's a very busy guy asking questions. Oh, wait, that's the same question. It's just posted second time. There's me on Semx again. There is me. There I am. Michael Soltis, under the handle Mikey Soltis, says, are you in scuba gear? No, it was 25 degrees this morning. I do go out and I do paddleboarding in the lake, even when it's cold, but not today. It was 25. I did actually even slip on some of the ice that was out there today, but no, luckily didn't fall, and that is not scuba gear, but it does look like it. I get what you're saying. Thank you. Brian Posey, whose handle is at Motor City Posey, that's MOTOR City Posey, says, Jon Najarian, I didn't hear a word you said after seeing your Michter's 25 behind you. Yep, we do have that Michter's 25. It is a beauty, folks. There it is. Michter's 25. Love my friends at Michter's. I thank them for being supportive of a lot of the charities that my brother Pete and I are involved with, and they're always generous providing some of their rye, bourbon, or whiskey for those charity events. We appreciate it, and I love this Michter's. And Michter's 25, folks, is a bit of gold. This stuff goes for a lot of money, and I love it. So I got to make sure that I drink it sparingly and enjoy it every single time. Absolutely. If you'd like to learn more about what we do, go to marketrebellion.com/UOA. I got to go. I got to trade. Thank you for joining me today, folks. I hope you have a great day. I look forward to being back with you tomorrow and on the halftime report on Thursday. Thank you.